What's up, friends and strangers? Today I hung out with the guitarist and bass player of Australian punk rock band KTO. We talked about gear, being in a band with your significant other, and of course, killer kangaroos. Check it out. All right, so Mark, is there a bit of kit that you're particularly excited about? You know, maybe your number one guitar, an amp, something like that?
Look, I've got a bunch of guitars. Some of them are a bit clunky and junky. I'm been a bit of a collector of secondhand junk.
Yeah.
My favorite guitar at the moment is my DBZ. So I don't know if you know Dean Zielinski.
Yeah.
Who used to be own and be the lead luthier at Dean Guitars, and he went on to sell that and form DBZ, and then he went on to just is he just called Dean Zielinski now? Anyway, he had the DBZ line, and so I've got this I think it's a Royale, so it's kind of got a like a Gibson ES335 body shape, but really thin bodied and nicely like an arch top front and back. It's a great guitar. I love playing it. And I had a big rig for a couple of years there. What was it? Help me out here. It wasn't a high watt. It was a high watt, yeah. But just two cabs too heavy. The older you get, the more you realise you don't want to lift heavy stuff. So
even on the caster wheels.
Yeah, I bought a little I can't see it there, but a little Bugera. So I guess the partner to Behringer, it's their tube series.
Yeah,
and it's just a little 50 watt combo, but just got a great, lovely old jangly tube sound. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. And I just a pretty standard pedal board. I've got a bunch of Boss pedals on there. The DS1 and the distortion, and a lovely old what is it? Bad Monkey Overdrive. So it's kind of like the Ibanez Tube Screamer clone.
Yeah,
and some other effects. So mostly I play distorted, overdriven guitar sound, and every now and then I'll bring in something like a bit of chorus or phase or flange. But mostly it's that raw distorted sound that I really love.
Right on. Yeah. And ads, are you just taking like an 810 cabinet everywhere? Like, what do you got going on?
I've got a Mark bass. I think it's a 10-inch with tweeter.
Okay.
Little Mark 3 combo. Yeah. Got the crazy punch that Mark bass has been putting out for a long time now. I think I've probably had that for 13 odd years, something like that. And it's served me very, very well. It hasn't skipped a beat. I don't mind running a few effects as far as a bass guitarist is concerned. I've got a Weeping Demon wah pedal, chorus kind of sound out of the D-tuner on a whammy. I've got a couple of Mark bass pedals. I got a distorter and a synth, but I don't often use those with KTO. They're not quite suitable. A little motor Rage Machine as well. Okay. On the occasion, I get a bit of high end out of that. So as far as my bass, I picked up a Jackson 3/4 out at when we went to Canada last year, and I've not looked back at playing a full size since. No cramps.
Yeah, right. Did the whole band go to Canada? Did KTO go?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was when we were 5 at that time, weren't we?
Yeah.
Because we had the extra guitarist.
Yeah, and so you're a 4-piece now?
Currently 4-piece.
Sort of.
Well, yeah. If anyone goes back to our 27 demos, I actually did a lot of guitar for those ones, and I think Mark actually recorded all the bass back then.
That's right.
I think it. Yeah, I can't really remember the pretense behind why that all happened that way, but I think we were looking for a bass guitarist at this time because we wanted to do two guitars.
Availability and Barry's.
Yeah, and but yeah, you can definitely hear like my guitar style is very different to Mark's. Mark's is very like funk, fast strumming, like old school sort of Chili Pepper style. And whereas mine, I adapted from. I was into all the Metallicas and the Megadeths, and used to play a lot of that hard, fast thrash.
Sure, yeah.
So lots of pinch squeals, stuff like that,
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, I did want to talk about your influences a little bit. So, in this iteration of KTO, and let's maybe just talk about your last few songs. What direction is the band going, and what is influencing the band? I guess maybe currently.
I guess this time around we have actually gone a little bit funkier, a bit more, I guess, slightly more straight edge rock. Like we've got a few songs where, like they're real riffy, very riffy, but they stay on that nice, like they'll hammer on the A for a while and then have that riffage around it with, some good constant drums. Like we've got a song, Love and Life at the end of the line, or Life and Love at the end of the line. I can never remember which way around those guys go, but it's got like a very sort of constant train sort of feel to it. So it's like, so that's like very that kind of style.
Like Lizzie does probably 90% or more of the lyric writing, and usually she'll bring that with a tune, so it'll be something that she's got the tune in her head and she can sing it, and then we'll sit down and work out the melody and the basic chord arrangement and what key it's in, and then everyone adds their part. And we've always been really open to whatever you bring as a musician in terms of your style and how you like to play is what you add. So there's not any sort of preconceived style, like you've got to play like this. So I think we've all played in bands where, people have this sense of this is my project, this is my band, this is what I want. And that's all fine if you can get on board with that. But I think it stymies creativity. And so for us, instead of having someone as a creative director and telling everyone what to play, which would give us all the shits pretty quickly, we all just bring our own style. So everyone will add their bit at rehearsal, and then we sort of hammer them out, and usually come out absolutely stoked about how good these songs turn out from the point of inception to a fully arranged song. So we spent a lot of time just demoing them as professionally as we could on basic home equipment, just to be able to listen back, listen to tempos, listen to feels, work out if what we were doing was what we wanted to take into the studio. And I think that worked really well. So that's something I'd see us doing again between now and June. Probably ramp it up, April, May. But then going into the studio, I think last time we went with this guy called Jason Millhouse of Record Works in Brisbane, and he was wonderful to work with. So of probably the 4 studio experiences we've had now, he was probably the most chill, without being hands off like some engineers. And I think this time around we thought, no, we were really confident in the arrangements, but still open to some suggestions, and it was a perfect mix because then he could give really subtle suggestions about things that would work, especially when we were dubbing guitar tracks and vocals, just really subtle but creative and clever suggestions. So yeah, that's what I liked about the recording process.
Yeah, right
what
on.
was your take on the recording process, mate?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed like getting it down to that sort of final product, and then actually completely changing so many other bits. Like we put so many chanting things in after, like pretty well at 95% completion, and they've just helped sort of just fill out the song that little bit better. Just little bits and pieces like that. It's yeah, that was a lot of fun that he was open to those kinds of ideas, and just it was a very painless procedure. He really helped us out by just being really chill and being open to everyone's ideas, and yeah.
Part in a song that I hadn't really heard Ad sing before. It was at the tail end of a song. I'll sing my harmony at the same in the same timbre and same register, and then Lizzie's singing hers. She's in her register, and then Ads is climbing each time we repeat it to the point where we get to this, like, glass shattering crescendo at the end.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, I've never heard that before. That's amazing, So it was really little things like that, little nuggets of gold that you're just not expecting, and then you hear it and it's captured, and you go, wow, that's really special.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And in addition to that, you guys are doing some really cool music videos, Unseen and I Want to Believe in particular. Just really professional looking, and wanted to talk to you about those. Who's producing those? Are you guys doing that yourself? Do you contract that out?
They've all been different in terms of who's had creative direction. Like the first one, actually we did a video for a song, the first EP, Stalker, which we recorded Stalker subsequently, but that was just shot in a cafe, and I think that was my daughter, and it was just kind of all then put together with her and Lizzie, editing it and co-creating it. And then she was working with an AV collective in Brisbane.
Was that Nowhere Network?
Yeah, Nowhere Network. That's right.
Yeah, and that was the Unseen video.
Yeah, it was a super cool location for Unseen, the dilapidated building, whatever that was, with all the graffiti. That was super cool.
Yeah, that was cool. And even when we were there, like I'd seen it. It had been in that state for a couple of years and closed down and been trashed. I think when we were there wasn't a single window in the whole. It was an old motel. There wasn't a single window in the complex that hadn't been smashed. There was glass everywhere. But it looked really cool. I pulled in there one day and had a bit of a look around and thought, yeah, this could work really nicely. And then when we were there, we found another building that I hadn't seen, which had a swimming pool in it. Completely dry, drained. And we moved between a couple of outside locations and the swimming pool, and got some really fantastic footage.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. I want to talk about your live shows. So what types of venues are you guys usually playing? Most of the footage I've seen has been from, looks like bigger outdoor events. Is that mostly what you're doing, like festival kind of things, or is it mostly bars?
Yeah, so a lot of dive bars. We've played one camping festival, that was Jim the Rocks festival, that was held over a weekend. That was, I think, where we've got all the live footage for I'm Not Changing. There's that live video clip of that one. That was a lot of fun, that festival. I I think our latest sort of stack of live videos might have come from the Bright Side. That's a fairly large venue in the Valley in Brisbane.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we played there a good few times for particular charity gigs and punk music festivals and stuff like that. So, but yeah, mostly dive bars like Artist Space and all that sort of stuff. Like Banshees is a really popular one for us. We pretty much started our away gigging journey there. In Ipswich. That's it's only an hour or so away, and it always makes for a good night. Al and Tim, who run the place and possibly own it, I am not too sure about that. They look after us every time, and they're always so accommodating. So, it's nice to revisit these kinds of smaller places where it's a lot more intimate, and a lot of fun in those smaller places. A lot of, I think Vinny's Dive Bar, 11 Dive Bar, they're, like I say, a lot of them are dive bars up the coast and whatnot. And a lot of fun to play, a lot more intimate.
Right on.
Yeah, and we've been able to form relationships with those venues too. So the film clip for I Want to Believe was shot at the PFR Lounge in the Valley. Which is a venue we've played at quite a few times, and the owner just opened the place up for the day for us to shoot, no charge. He even did the sound, just managing the PA system and playing the track that we mime to. That wouldn't happen if you didn't have relationships. So it's not just commercial or go in, do it, get paid, and piss off. We actually have taken the time to form friendships with these guys, and it works. And there's that mutual respect. It's not just about playing; it's about community, and that's been really nice for us.
Yeah. So obviously, you guys have to be aware of your reputation as Australians. Being a little. Being beer drinkers and hellraisers, so playing these dive bars with your high energy rock music, what's some of the crazy stuff that's happened?
We did a gig at a dive bar.
All right.
When he arrived at the gig, and then he kept drinking shots, and before he went on, he had like 6 shots,
like 5 shots or something like that.
And 4 songs into the set, and he just collapsed.
Did he make it to 4 songs?
I can't remember how many songs it was, but it was,
I didn't know he got that. I didn't know he got that far.
Maybe that far, yeah. So that was probably one of the most hilarious experiences. We've always found people really receptive to the music and just seem to really enjoy it and dance. Or even when you see people bobbing their head, and sort of singing along. So if they've been listening to it on Spotify or Triple Z radio here in Queensland, then that they've connected with the songs and they're enjoying them. I'm just trying to think of someone that's done something really silly. Usually it's band members.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Getting drunk.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your local radio. So local radio does not exist in the U.S. So everything is very corporatized. So if I wanted to go to my local radio station here, be like, hey, can you guys play my songs? They would say, absolutely not. You can pay to advertise. But yeah, all the programming for what songs get played is done at a central location, and they decide the songs for all the stations that are in their network, which is almost all of them. There's like 2 or 3 companies that control all music on the radio. So even radio itself has pretty much died in the U.S.
Yeah. We do. In Brisbane, we're really privileged to have this community radio station called 4 Triple Z, and they constantly do membership drives. People from the community and bands too sign up as subscribers. We're a subscriber band, and it certainly makes a difference in terms of getting plays. I think just because there's that appreciation that you're asking them to support you and you're supporting them in return. But you don't have to be a subscriber band to be played on that radio station. But very community minded. Lots of programs hosted by volunteer amateur programmers, and some of them are very more music heavy, and then usually there's 2 or 3 presenters, and they do a bit of joking around and piss taking, and then sometimes it's more issue based, like there's some environmental focused shows, politics focused shows, and they'll have the music as part of it as a counterpoint, rather than for the sake of music. But and it's just a huge variety. But really, totally independent of mainstream media, which is fantastic. And there's some other stations. There's not a huge number of community radio stations. We've got one here in Toowoomba. It's a bit less, cool, but still very community oriented. It's an older demographic. That one's called 4WB. But it's important to have, I guess, in our media landscape, to have independent, broadcasters and radio stations, and more and more on the internet too. Sources of independent content. Otherwise, you're, like you said about your radio stations there, it's all corporatized, and it's fewer numbers of people that control the industry, then you're going to get content that's around what makes the most money and what gets the most clicks, or it's not about the quality of the music. But having said that, whether you're on Spotify or SoundCloud or Bandcamp, you can find some amazing music. It's not out there commercially, and it might not be making big headlines, but still some amazing musicians out there, and bands and acts that would leave some of the stuff that we take for music commercially, they'd leave it for dead. But it's a different industry now than it was 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's never been easier to make music, but it's never been more crowded than it is now, obviously because of that. So how are you guys cutting through the noise and finding your audience?
Just gotta push everything, plug everything, tag all your people that you find relevant to what you are hosting. Like, we are relevant to a lot of other punk bands, and having that particular group of community helps get into those pies, I suppose.
Yeah, networking too, like at gigs, getting to know and connecting on social media and connecting personally with bands that you play with. Lizzie, again, has been really proactive in that space, and especially, well, not just in that local scene, but when we look at the online community, seeking out playlist curators, radio station hosts, internet radio programs, and then other people who, I guess, content creators in various ways. Like you've got a friend who lives down near Sydney, and he hosts a program called Share a Drink with Matt, and he's had us on a couple of times, and he's a great fan of ours, and often on his socials will give us a shout out just out of nowhere. Again, those relationships, and certainly something Lizzie's experienced with reaching out to curators and radio stations, is they know her now. Like, she's a known quantity, and she has conversations quite apart from, do you want to do this interview with us, or seeking out promotion. so I suppose there's something about being authentic with people that I think when people recognise that in you, they more prepared to reach back and shake your hand and say, yeah, okay, let's do something. If you just look like you're trawling through 1,000 potential contacts to get a lead, that's going to come across, I think, pretty quickly. But if you're interested in having conversations and forming friendships, I think that goes a lot further. So that's been just, I guess, us being ourselves, and especially Lizzie being herself in her reaching out, has had a huge impact. And recently we did, there's a, I can't remember the name of the program, but they do every Wednesday, they focus on a particular artist in one of their curated playlists, and they invite all of the artists in their sort of stable, and then anyone else who wants to join in as well, to listen to a particular song and critique it and appreciate it. And so that's something that she's been involved in for the last 12 months. So she regularly shows up to that forum and listens to other people's music, for an hour, for a couple of hours even. And so recently our song I Want to Believe was featured on that. And it was such a wonderful experience to read all of this feedback from people who are making music themselves and really appreciative of it. So, if someone wanted the key to success commercially, I don't think we could give that to them. But if it's about getting your music out there, getting it heard, and that being, I guess, the most rewarding thing, and getting that feedback, then I think reaching out, being honest and genuine and authentic is, would be my advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys full-time musicians? Do you have day jobs?
Day jobs, night jobs, you mentioned it.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Life of a musician is not cheap.
No, it's a very expensive habit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buying merch is always a good way to help.
That's right. Speaking of which, we'll show off some merch we have there.
Yeah. I might even just readjust this a bit.
There we go.
There we go.
Nice.
That's better.
Yeah.
Look at our shirts. I have
beanie. Yeah.
Beanies. I think I just lost the sticker that was connected to that. There we are.
Nice.
Stickers. So this was our last release. This one's Control-Alt-Delete. So if you've heard Girlzilla, this is the one that's on. That's our second official EP, I suppose you would say. And then our first one with Unseen that you mentioned there before, that one's on Autosomal.
Yeah.
As well.
Very cool.
Didn't dig out our demo, but our 27 demo is actually on SoundCloud Bandcamp.
There we go.
Hey.
Nice.
So on that one, you can hear an original version of Stalker, which I find it's a little bit more punk rock, punk metal, bit thrashier. Like I say, there's me playing guitar and just hitting. I think I'm just doing 16ths on the B with a squeal at the end of each phrase. Essentially,
there's some great
it was a different flavor of KTO, that old school OG KTO flavor.
Yeah. Right on. Well, where did the name come from?
Oh, so Kathleen Turner Overdrive. So I guess if you remember the old Canadian rock band from the 70s, Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Yeah.
And the actress Kathleen Turner hung them together.
So
we sort of, Lizzie and I played with a friend back in the 90s, and that's where we first coined the name. And then, we all went our separate ways, and then started playing again about 2015, ads and Lizzie and I, and I think so. Maybe I was Beck. That's right. We got
that's right. We had Beck as well.
and just doing some covers. And then we started with a name called the Junior Mints. If you remember the Seinfeld episode, and the sweet chocolate, mint covered ball. And we thought we'd go from covers to, we wanted to write more originals, and so we flipped it and decided to call it, return to the name KTO. And then we saw, was it the that movie with John Cusack and Jack Black, High Fidelity, and Jack Black's got a band called Kathleen Turner Overdrive. So we beat him to it, but I don't know that anyone would believe us. And then once we came up with that name, and then we started getting more into the online scene, we found that there were like at least a couple of active bands in the States called Kathleen Turner Overdrive, and some defunct ones as well. So other people have hit on it independently as well. It's it's a cute way of coming up with a name. Seems to work, and even K, just shortened to KTO. We recognise as much by that as by the full title.
Sure.
Yeah, it's great. The only downside is people think that Lizzie's Kathleen Turner.
Of course, yeah.
So
right.
Yeah. Getting Kathleen isn't Kathleen, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just go with that.
Yeah.
But that's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Pink Floyd lyric. And by the way, which one's pink?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah. All right, so Mark, I got to ask, what's it like being in a band with your wife? Do you win any band arguments?
I defer to Lizzie's creative wisdom regarding songwriting. And actually, I love and respect that about it, is that I've always been in bands since I was at uni, and we've been married for 30 plus years, and we've got 2 adult children, and she was very resolute, committed working mum, and very selfless, and so I kind of feel like this is her time to shine, and certainly it has been with songwriting, and us being able to support that, to bring these ideas to life. So she comes up with with sort of cute little concepts like I Want to Believe, or Stalker, sort of pop culture references, or whether they're a bit more sort of, I suppose, socially driven, like songs like Robot Girl, and Girlzilla, which are more, and Wonder Woman, which are really feminist anthems, really, like they're really strong statements about what it's like to be a woman, and the expectations that people, that society has of women, and some of those stereotypes, and sort of trying to turn them on their ass and turn them around. So yeah, no arguments to be won or lost. We continue to work collaboratively, and I just I do my thing, which is mainly guitar. I'm a mediocre background singer.
I feel like
so
they both appreciate having the handle that they can throw their arguments at,
right?
If there is, the rhythm section,
for sure.
Yeah.
Right on.
We've never had, as a band, we've never had any big fights about arrangements or songs or people stamping their foot to get their own way, have we?
Yeah.
We're just always collaborative.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Actually, that's something that we've been doing a bit of lately. Like we did a collab with a Canadian punk band recently called Broomfiller, and it's a fundraising thing they do every year where they do a punk version of A Christmas Carol. So we did Deck the Halls. It was just really cool, and to get the feedback from the band that it had all been finished, and it was up on social media, and it was starting to get clicks, and they're starting to raise funds for a young girl in their community who's got, I think she's got leukemia. But they do this fundraising thing every year, so it was really special to be a part of that. And we've been talking with a trans artist in the UK about doing a collaborative project, and she really digs our song Girlzilla. So, but she's got very, very strong ideas about how she'd like to sort of bend that to her creative style. So it'll be very much more an electronica, cyberpunk piece than what it is now, which is a guitar rock song.
Yeah.
So I think those things too are really important, to be able to collaborate with people and be respected for what you can contribute, but also open yourself up to having your music pulled apart and put back together. And whether it looks like Frankenstein or the Mona Lisa, I guess time will tell, but it's still a great privilege to have those relationships.
Yeah. So obviously, we're getting very close to Christmas. I would imagine that you have very different, let's say, social norms around Christmas. For us, it's playing in the snow and all these cold weather things. And very few people are going to be sitting around with their shirt off this time of year. Around here. So, I don't know. Maybe just talk a little bit about that. What are some of Australia's Christmas traditions?
Backyard cricket, stuff like that. Just more Aussie-based sports and stuff like that. Even just the yard games and stuff like quoits and bocce. A lot of families get together and do like the bocce or bowls, boule, depending on which which tongue you want to go with. And just people travel to go and see each other, and that's about the main thing. Yeah, everyone gathers around the Christmas tree, does the presents, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That are fortunate enough to do that, obviously. Pretty standard. Just we're melting instead of freezing.
Right. Yeah. So Australia has a great film scene of its own. Do you guys have cheesy Christmas movies that are based in the summer? Like all of ours are small towns and based in the winter.
Christmas movies.
I can't think of any off the top of my head, to be honest.
Okay.
Aussie Christmas films.
I always love this time of year jokes about Die Hard being a Christmas movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Die Hard's not a movie; it's a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Interesting.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, holiday emergency films. Home Alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I did name my son after a role that an Australian actor played. So my son's name's Maximus.
Oh, okay.
After
Russell
Crowe, Gladiator.
Mad Max?
Russell Crowe character.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Mad Max,
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Mad
My
Max,
son's name's Max as well, so.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Just before he was conceived, we had a dog named Max. So usually you name your dogs after people, but you name their son after a dog.
Right. Must have been a great dog.
Yeah. He was a great dog. Yes, he was.
So I had the chance to try some candy from Australia a few years ago. And you guys have your own very unique flavor for different things, musk flavored things. Are either of you a fan of musk flavored candies?
Is that just us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, not really.
I love musk. Musk is a great flavor.
We had these when we were kids, and they're like
sticks.
a semi-hard candy in a long strip, and it's kind of fluted. If you looked at it end on, it would look like a starfish. And musk flavored. Not a big fan. No, I can't say. I love musk. Nice scent, but not so much the flavor.
There used to be a musk stick called Big Boss, and they were like yay long in a pack of about 10 to 15 of that, and it wouldn't take me long to eat an entire bag.
Right on. Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a sucker for a musk stick.
There you go.
Or Tim Tams. Have you tried Tim Tams?
No.
Okay.
They're another great one. It's just our classic chocolate biscuit.
Okay.
And it's same deal. It doesn't take me much to eat an entire pack of that.
Do you do the Tim Tam straw?
I've given it a go a couple of times. You bite you bite each corner, each opposite corner on the long ends,
mm-hmm.
and you sip your coffee or tea through it, depending on what you like.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you end up with this. As long as you don't take too long to do it, you end up with this coffee-filled, sludgy chocolate biscuit, which just melts in your mouth. So, yeah, it's pretty gross habit, but it's a classic in Australia, the Tim Tam straw.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole world of confectionery delights for you here, Matt.
Yeah.
I suppose you know about our infamous breakfast spread Vegemite.
Oh yeah. Yep. I haven't had a chance to try Vegemite. I've had Marmite, but not Vegemite.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, and they're all
similar,
different.
but definitely not the same.
Yeah, we have another one here called Promite. It's a little bit sweeter, but yeah, usually anyone from the States that I've met that's had Vegemite universally despises it. But yeah, in Australia,
not a big fan.
We all love it. Yeah. So it could be this beyond any other geopolitical things happening at the moment. Diss out Vegemite and we'll be trouble.
Yeah. Have you guys tried root beer flavored things? I know that's fairly uniquely American.
Root beer?
I've found that it's almost like sarsaparilla.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah, it's all sort of based off the aniseed root, yeah?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've definitely had, and yeah, I like it. I like root beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
When we were in the States years ago, we were staying in Brooklyn, and we had a supermarket across the road from us. I went over there one day, and I was stunned by the variety of beers.
Yeah.
It's a lot like that now in Oz, but it never used to be. So you go into a supermarket, you see like 50 different varieties of beer, and it's like, oh wow, just died and gone to heaven. Yeah. And I think that was the first time I'd ever experienced knish.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's like a Jewish like bread type deal. So we like knishes and the really, really big pretzels too. Like in Australia, pretzels are like little snacks, like they're like that big, and so it was really cool to be able to get a pretzel that was the size of a steering wheel. It's great to see just different little things when you go overseas and things that you would never see in your own country.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Punk in the Corn Indie Music Festival, 10th and 11th of October 2025. Yeah. And we're looking forward to it. We went to Canada last year and Costa Rica, which was cool.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to actually play in the States.
Right on.
The kids were little. We went over to the States and we were there for about 4 or 5 weeks, and we spent some time in California and doing all the touristy sightseeing, theme parks and stuff. And then we drove across country, and that because we stopped at RV parks, and sometimes we'd spend 2 or 3 nights, sometimes just a night.
Sure.
But that took us nearly 2 weeks.
Yeah. Any particular bits of culture shock that you experienced?
Oh,
milk in a bag.
I don't know.
Milk in a bag. All right. Yeah.
The Canadians, very, very friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have that reputation.
I think, very polite, very friendly, very warm and open. And Costa Rica, they are also really like the dudes in the other bands that we played with, just so warm and just open arms, just embraced us like mates. So I'm still friends with a couple of those guys on Facebook, and we reach out and have a chat every now and then. Yeah, so Costa Rica, beautiful country too.
Yeah.
Mountainous.
Very.
Yeah. But yeah, we had a great gig there. We played at this this microbrewery up in the mountains, sort of in the sort of central part of the country. And that was great fun, and just tons of people and all just having a great time. So That was a great privilege, and great. And the Costa Rican punk bands are just full on. They're like, that 80s skate punk vibe. Some of the guys there were, especially one in particular, one of the lead singers, one of the bands, was a world champion downhill skater.
Oh wow!
Skateboard rider, and you see some of the stuff that he does. It's just insane. Yeah.
Was anyway, he in Sentido Commune, or was he Los Perros?
Los Perros, I think.
Yeah.
But they were
a great band.
Yeah, they're all great bands, and really bringing in that sort of suicidal tendencies vibe, which was nice to hear. And they really
perfect for Tony Hawk, pro skater.
Yeah, right. Yep, that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, man. Yes. Well, Sentido Commune's got a song called "Skate or Die." It's pretty up the alley of that whole the Tony Hawk style, those undergrounds and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wicked fast pace. Yeah, heavy.
Yeah. Did you guys do any surfing while you're in Costa Rica? It's pretty legendary for that.
No.
No.
I'll pull a Clash here and say, Charlie, don't surf.
So Australia has kind of a reputation that everything is there to kill you. Can you talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
Whether it be venomous snakes or
check under your chair for,
the kangaroos.
Check under your chair for spiders will be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I came across a video last night, and I think I've seen it before. I've seen it as something similar. A guy rescuing his dog from a kangaroo, and the kangaroo was trying to drag the dog into the river to kill it.
Yeah, I think I saw the same video.
Kangaroos. These are those
in the headlock and everything.
Really, really muscular, really strong, and really aggressive. Kangaroos in their natural habitat are really aggressive, and they can bear their weight on their back tail really quickly and rise up and like tear you to shreds with the claws on their hind legs. Anyway, this guy went and rescued his dog from this butch kangaroo, and you think the kangaroo was shaping up to him. He wanted to fight. And this guy's like, made sure his dog was safe. And I think there's a couple of those videos on the net. So if you get a chance to see Killer Kangaroo, check that out.
Right.
We've got all sorts of snakes and spiders and stuff here. And so there's a lot of things that can kill you here.
Yeah. The irukandji, the tiny little jellyfish.
Yeah, the tiny little bottle jellyfish. You could die from a tick bite. We've got cattle ticks here that can cause horrible tick paralysis, and certainly can kill pets. So you definitely got to beware. Thanks, man. Well, really, thanks so much for taking the time and the interest in us to want to talk to us. It's always a great privilege when people like you who support the scene, from the side. Like saying, you've got your bands and you've got your venues and you've got your punters, but then you've got a whole stack of people who do all this content creation on the side that promote us as well. And so we always see that as a great privilege, to be featured on other people's, radio programs or do interviews with us, and especially the live face-to-face ones, because it's not just a bunch of questions on a piece of paper that you have to try and write something novel each time.
Yeah.
It always feels a bit soulless. It's always nice to actually speak to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Oh, right on. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Good talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.